The Indiana Fever just dropped a bombshell, but they didn't call a press conference to do it. It came quietly, buried in an article from the Indy Star late last night. On the surface, it looked like a routine update. The new CBA is signed, salaries are going up, everyone wins. But hidden in the fine print is a detail that should terrify Fever fans. The front office isn't sure if they're going to core Kelsey Mitchell. And if they don't, Portland is waiting to take her. What happens next isn't just about one player. It's about whether Indiana is trying to win now or quietly sacrificing loyalty for a spreadsheet. Everyone is celebrating the new collective bargaining agreement. And honestly, they should. The players' union signed a term sheet that fundamentally changes the financial landscape of the league. The salary cap is jumping from a laughable $1.5 million in 2025 to $7 million in 2026. That's not a raise, that's a complete restructuring. By 2032, the league projects it'll hit $11 million. For the first time, WNBA players have a real shot at generational wealth. Dawn Staley said it best. These women can finally invest their money and build something lasting. But here's what the celebratory headlines aren't telling you. When you raise the cap, you also raise the max contracts. The supermax, which was around $250,000. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video. Under the old system, jumps to $1.4 million under the new one. That's a massive increase, but watch what happens when you do the math. A $1.4 million supermax eats up exactly 20% of a $7 million salary cap. That means one player takes up 1/5 of your entire budget. Under the old system, the Fever could core Kelsey Mitchell, lock her down, and not think twice about it. Now, suddenly, you're sitting in a front office meeting asking yourself a brutal question. Do you pay Kelsey what she's worth, or do you build depth around Caitlyn Clark? Because you can't afford to do both. The cap is higher, sure, but so are your mandatory expenses. Every team has to carry a minimum of 12 players now, up from the previous minimum. You've got developmental spots to fill. You've got salary minimums that scale up every year through 2032. When you factor all of that in, that $7 million cap starts shrinking fast. And the $1.4 million supermax doesn't just affect one player, it cascades through your entire roster construction. This is the part everyone missed while they were celebrating the deal. The CBA is a massive win for players collectively, but for individual teams trying to build a championship roster, it just made the hardest decisions even harder. Now, let's add another layer to this mess. The expansion draft is coming, and Portland is watching everything the Fever do. The new franchise needs star power. They've got a clean salary cap, no bad contracts, and a mandate to sell tickets in a new market. Kelsey Mitchell is exactly the type of veteran they want. She's been in the league since 2018. She averaged 19.2 points per game last season. She's a two-time All-Star who just proved she can thrive alongside a ball-dominant guard like Caitlyn Clark. If you're building a franchise from scratch, that's your anchor. The expansion draft rules are simple but brutal. The Fever can protect a certain number of players. Caitlyn Clark is obviously protected. Aaliyah Boston is protected. But after that, the math gets ugly. Every player you protect is someone Portland can't take, but it also means you're committing to their contract. If Indiana protects Kelsey Mitchell, they're signaling they're willing to pay that $1.4 million supermax. If they leave her unprotected, Portland will grab her the moment the draft starts. There's no middle ground here. And here's what makes the timing even worse. The expansion draft happens before free agency. So if the Fever leave Kelsey unprotected and Portland doesn't take her, which is unlikely but possible, she still hits the open market. At that point, you're competing with every other team for her services, and you've already shown you weren't willing to commit. That's not a strong negotiating position. The Indy Star report made it clear. The Fever front office isn't sure they're going to core her in 2026. That uncertainty is the real story. If Kelsey was untouchable, if she was part of the long-term plan, they'd say it. Instead, you're getting carefully worded statements about flexibility and roster construction and keeping options open. That's front office speak for, we're preparing fans for a departure. Portland knows this. Every team in the league knows this. Kelsey Mitchell is about to become one of the most sought-after free agents in WNBA history, and Indiana might not be able to afford keeping her. To understand why Kelsey is so vulnerable right now, you have to understand how the core rule changed. Under the previous CBA, any player, regardless of years of experience, was eligible to be cored. A team could offer a supermax contract in exchange for exclusive negotiation rights for up to 2 years. That was the leverage teams had. That's how the Fever kept Kelsey in 2025, giving her a $250,000 supermax under the old structure. But the new agreement changed the game completely. The league and the players' union agreed to limit coring to players who have fewer than 7 years of experience. That single tweak is the reason everyone is nervous right now. Kelsey Mitchell entered the league in 2018. She has played 7 seasons. She is right on the edge of this rule change. If the Fever want to core her in 2026, they can, but the terms are different. She's not just getting a supermax. She's getting a $1.4 million supermax, and she has leverage she didn't have before. The old system let teams force players to stay. The new system gives players more freedom to leave. And Kelsey has earned that freedom. She's been the consistent scoring threat for 7 years, while Indiana cycled through rebuilds, coaching changes, and roster overhauls. When Caitlyn Clark arrived as a rookie, Kelsey was the veteran presence who understood how to play off a ball-dominant guard. They developed chemistry immediately. Clark's playmaking opened up catch-and-shoot opportunities that Kelsey converted at an elite level. But chemistry doesn't override salary cap mathematics. And the new CBA makes those mathematics brutal. If the Fever core her again in 2026, she commands that full $1.4 million. Somebody is going to give Kelsey Mitchell that money. The real question is whether the Indiana Fever are going to be that team. And right now, based on everything coming out of the front office, the answer isn't looking good. Here's the reality. The Fever front office is staring down. Caitlyn Clark isn't just the face of the franchise. She's the timeline. The new CBA includes an expedited path for top players on rookie contracts to reach maximum money faster. If you make all WNBA first or second team in your first 2 seasons, you unlock early negotiation rights. Caitlyn Clark made all WNBA in her rookie year. She's on track to do it again. That means she could be eligible for a massive contract extension before her rookie deal even expires. We're talking $500,000 or more by 2027. Aaliyah Boston is in the same boat. As a former #1 pick and a rising star, she's commanding max money too. So let's do the math. By 2027, the Fever could have Clark at $500,000 plus, Boston at a similar number, and if they keep Kelsey, another $1.4 million. That's nearly $2.5 million tied up in 3 players on a $7 million cap. And that's before you fill out the rest of the roster. You need at least 12 players. The season is expanding to 52 games, up from 40 in 2025. More games means more wear on your roster, which means you need deeper benches, which means you need more quality players. If you're paying one guard $1.4 million, you're operating with roughly $5.6 million to fill the other 11 spots. That math doesn't work if you want to compete for a championship. And make no mistake, that's what this is about. The Fever aren't trying to make the playoffs anymore. They're trying to win titles while Caitlyn Clark is still on a rookie contract. That window is narrow. It's maybe 2 or 3 years before her extension kicks in and eats up even more cap space. So, the front office has to decide. Do they load up now with veterans like Kelsey and make a serious run, or do they preserve flexibility for when Clark and Boston are in their primes? You can't do both. And the Kelsey Mitchell decision is where that choice becomes impossible. While all the attention is on Kelsey Mitchell, there's another name that should have Fever fans worried: Natasha Howard. End quote. Oh, nobody's talking about her, but she's the canary in the coal mine here. Howard is a proven veteran. She's a former All-Star. She brings playoff experience and defensive versatility. She's exactly the type of player you want next to a young core like Clark and Boston. But if the Fever aren't protecting Natasha Howard in the expansion draft, and all signs suggest they aren't, that tells you everything about how they're prioritizing this roster. They're building around youth. They're building around Caitlyn Clark's timeline. And veterans who don't fit that window are expendable. Howard is the test case. If she's left unprotected and Portland takes her, it signals that the Fever are willing to let proven talent walk to preserve cap space. And if they're willing to do that to Howard, why wouldn't they do it to Kelsey? The logic is cold but consistent. The Fever are looking at a roster that needs to be built for the next 5 years, not the next 5 months. Clark and Boston are untouchable. Everyone else is being evaluated based on contract flexibility. Howard is on the wrong side of that evaluation, and Kelsey, despite everything she's done for the franchise, might be too. What makes this particularly difficult to watch is that Kelsey has been nothing but professional through all of it. She never complained when her role changed after Clark arrived. She never demanded trades or caused locker room issues. She's done everything right. And the reward for that loyalty might be getting left unprotected in an expansion draft because the team can't afford to pay her what she's earned. That's the brutal reality of the new CBA. Player salaries are going up, which is great for the athletes, but it also means teams have to make harder choices about who stays and who goes. Natasha Howard might be the first casualty, but she won't be the last. So let's map out the realistic scenarios, because the Fever have 3 options and none of them are perfect. Option 1 is the win-now approach. They core Kelsey Mitchell in 2026, pay her the $1.4 million supermax, and commit to her as part of the long-term core alongside Clark and Boston. This keeps the team competitive immediately. It maintains continuity. It rewards Kelsey's loyalty, but it severely limits roster flexibility. You're operating with roughly $5.6 million to fill out the rest of the roster. And when Caitlyn Clark's extension kicks in, those numbers get even tighter. This might give you a 2-year championship window before the cap situation becomes unsustainable. Option 2 is the gamble. They don't core Kelsey, but they protect her in the expansion draft and let her test free agency. This gives Indiana cap flexibility while still keeping her off Portland's board. The gamble is that Kelsey takes a hometown discount to stay with a contender. But why would she? If Portland offers the full supermax and a chance to be the face of a new franchise, that's not just more money, that's a legacy opportunity. Indiana would be betting on loyalty over economics, and that bet fails more often than it succeeds in professional sports. Option 3 is the ruthless rebuild. They don't core her, they don't protect her, they let Portland take her in the expansion draft. This keeps the cap space clean. It lets them build around Clark and Boston with younger, cheaper talent. It maximizes long-term flexibility at the cost of short-term competitiveness and fan goodwill. This is the option that the IndyStar report is hinting at. Each option has consequences. Option 1 might win you a championship in 2027, but leave you capped out by 2029. Option 2 gives you flexibility, but relies on Kelsey choosing loyalty over money. Option 3 preserves your future, but potentially wastes years of Caitlyn Clark's prime while you develop younger players. The front office is running out of time to make the right call. 1. And whatever they choose, it's going to define this franchise for the next decade. If you're running the Indiana Fever, what do? Do you pay Kelsey Mitchell the $1.4 million and compete now, knowing it limits your future? Do you let her walk and build around cheaper talent, knowing you might waste years of Caitlyn Clark's prime? Or is there a third option nobody's seeing? The new CBA is transformational. Players are finally building generational wealth. The league is expanding. Salaries are skyrocketing. All of that is true. But it's also true that someone like Kelsey Mitchell, who did everything right, might lose her team because the math doesn't work anymore. And if that's the cost of progress, we should at least be honest about what we're sacrificing to get there. The Fever have months to decide. But the clock is ticking, and the silence from the front office is getting louder every day. Stay locked in with my channel, Simply Explained, your home for the truth behind the WNBA headlines.